What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. We had mentioned, and this was not I stole this from one of our behind the scenes, just social media extraordinaire, uh, Noah, who little college basketball player. I think he had a pretty good jump shot, and he's a gambler. And he brought up, he's like, you know what? He's like, what do you think of Baker Mayfield 25-1? I was like, kind of like it. Actually, I kind of love it. And I had used it right before the season started when it came to just making some like preseason bets, division winners, awards, stuff like that. I was like, this might be one of, if not the best value bets on the board. And now that number's been cut in half because Baker Mayfield has like four comebacks early in the season. He has 10 touchdowns and one interception. And like there is momentum for Baker Mayfield, who I saw some of the shows talking about him. Like he's an MVP candidate. There's no denying it. And I kind of regret. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put like a grand on this 25-1. And I didn't pull the trigger. Also, MVP could be a little difficult, but the odds right now at 12-1 for a guy that is not going away. He plays the Niners this week in front of Nance and Romo are calling the game. It's the game of the week. I think the following week he plays the Lions on Monday Night Football. So Baker has primetime games with a lot of people watching. He, if you look at the competition, Lamar clearly is out of it. To win back-to-back MVPs, it's just hard. There is a narrative, there is a lack of competition. I think people naturally get bored with voting for one individual, and they like to vote for other guys. So Josh Allen to win back-to-back MVPs would probably have to have basically an identical statistical season, and his team would probably have to be the number one seed, which they could be. Daniel Jones, who potentially is going to have a huge season, the Colts are going to win a bunch of games. Everyone will be like, well, he's the comeback player of the year. And then you look at the NFC, like the Eagles aren't going to have an MVP candidate. Jared Goff, even if his numbers at the end of the year look awesome, feels like he doesn't have the momentum behind him to do that. Jordan Love, whose number next to his name right now is like 11-1 on Hard Rock Bet. Uh, I just feel like no one's discussing him. Like you couldn't meet one person that's like, oh yeah, Jordan Love, MVP of the league. Yet if you just talk to a lot of people about football, like Baker Mayfield's having an MVP like season. So you could argue a month into the season. Now he was 25-1, excellent value, but it's almost like betting on golf. Sometimes if you don't bet before the tournament and you wait till like Friday afternoon, you go, hey, this guy's in the mix. I would have taken him 50-1. I can get him right now. He's three shots behind at 22-1. That's kind of how I look at Baker Mayfield. I'd argue at 12-1, still pretty excellent value. I mean, he has two straight weeks. Even if they just go 1-1 in these next two games against the Niners and the Lions, if he throws 5 or 6 touchdowns, uh, I think that number could be 7-8-1 here in 2 weeks. So Baker Mayfield, props to him. What a story. I mean, the Browns got rid of him for a guy that was addicted to handies, and they had to give $230 million. And then he went on to become uh, objectively the worst player in the league and will go down as like one of the biggest legal robbery scams we've ever seen. Props to his agent, David Mulgeta, for robbing the Browns. But what Deshaun Watson pulled off, making people think that he was going to be good because he put up great numbers on a 4-12 Houston Texans team, and then somehow he was able to avoid getting in trouble after being addicted to the massage therapist. And then he went on to be just, I mean, one of the worst players we've ever seen, to a guy that we would all agree is like a legit MVP candidate. In the previous 2 years has filled in for Tom Brady and led Tampa to back-to-back playoff berths. So it's an incredible story and fun to watch. We are extremely excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Everyone knows and loves their hotels and casinos, but now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet sportsbook to place all your NFL bets this season. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states to come. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you are in New Jersey. As we gear up for the NFL season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. You know, the Harbaugh brothers have a famous saying from their father, Jack. And it goes, "Who's got it better than us?" And the answer when it comes to the Harbaugh family right now is basically everybody. Because the Ravens are a mash unit. Their entire team is injured. They're 1-4, and they have the Rams coming up. So they're going to be 1-5 heading into the bye. And it does feel, once you're 1-5, even if you do get some guys back in the second half, it's pretty hard to overcome that. It feels like best case scenario, 7-8 wins, more than likely 5 or 6 wins. This season is done. And obviously the big picture stuff when it comes to John Harbaugh in terms of the job, where I've been pretty consistent on this. I just don't exactly know who you're replacing him with. But the Ravens season feels like DOA right now. Like they're in trouble. The Chargers, who a couple weeks ago looked like the best team in the league, have had a crazy rash of injuries, right? Joe Alt is out for who knows how many weeks with this high ankle sprain. They lose Najee Harris to the Achilles. And then today, they lose their first-round running back to injured reserve with an injury. So it's like you get to the point where, and Khalil Mack is out with the elbow injury for, who knows how many more games. You just can't overcome that. And I think the Ravens and the Chargers just get in a position where you can have injuries. And I say this all the time in training camp when guys go down. You just keep your fingers crossed it's a random guy. Well, in regular season games, if a guy's down, typically it's not a random guy. Why? Because it's a starter. And if you're the Chargers or the Ravens, every time it's like a Pro Bowl player, an impact player, a guy that you just drafted in the first round. So they can keep the positive, and they are a hyperbolic, optimistic family with some of their BS, and it's unfair for me to call it BS because it's historically worked. I mean, these guys are winners. I just think right now, who's got it better than us? 80% of the league. And I just don't know how you overcome that. And this notion of next man up, and that's something coaches love to say. I think it's much more difficult to say that with a straight face in a salary cap league, in a league that most teams have ever never had less depth. Obviously, the Ravens, they're paying a lot of guys a lot of money. Lamar Jackson makes a lot. Ronnie Stanley makes a lot. Metabuke makes a lot. Roquan Smith makes a lot. Kyle Hamilton makes a good chunk of change. Same with Marlon Humphrey. We start losing all those guys. Their backups aren't exactly like, future Pro Bowlers. A lot of times it's random guys because you're very dependent on the guys you're paying to play at a really high level. It's no different than the Chargers. Like when you draft a running back in the first round, you have high hopes for him. When you draft Joe Alt in the first round, you have high hopes for him. When those guys are in the training room and can't play, what are you going to do? When Khalil Mack gets his arm bent between two guys and has a hyperextended elbow and is out, I don't know, a month, 5-6 games, like there's no replacing that. You can replace a guy like that in an individual game, but watching the Chargers yesterday against Washington, it's almost like they just ran out of players, and you felt it watching them play. The Ravens have felt like that now for weeks. It's like, who are they? It feels like Harbaugh never loses in the preseason, John, that is, with randoms. Well, that doesn't work in the regular season. You kind of need your good players. So I'm not blaming either one of those two guys. I mean, they've both proven how fucking good they are, especially in the regular season. But I think both those two teams, if they were stocks, I would short them.